All right. Hello, everyone. Good evening. I think everyone who is so far logged in is from our side of the world, or just Peter logged in from the other side of the world. Thank you so much. It's great to see everyone again. I guess I did not talk enough that you guys all came back for more talking. It's always I'm always wondering. It's like, okay, how many people are just gonna say, all right, that was not worth it, forget it. Alex talked too much. I'm not going back. But I've always been surprised. So thank you so much for coming. We'll start with a quick review of what we did last week to see if there are any questions or anything, and then we'll move forward. Irma says you can. Irma, can everybody else hear me? Yep. Irma, it's you. Okay, I got a bunch of thumbs up. So Irma, right, she logged out and she logged back in. Let me share my screen so we can do a quick review of what we did last week. And I have so many windows here. Which one do I want to be on? This guy. All right. So last week we started with the connection of our spiritual and material affairs, particularly financial affairs. We looked at your responses, and then we read the scriptures, which basically talked about there are three purposes for us to be on earth. One, and again, this is for those that believe that there is a God, there is spirituality. If you don't believe in it, you can close your ears. We are not imposing any particular idea or ideology on anyone. But for those of us that believe that there is a spiritual world, the three purposes that are set for us in the guidance in the books is to know God, to worship Him, and to attain His presence, which the presence is not a physical presence, it's developing the characteristics that we all have from God. Then start to invest in our future. So preparing for the next stage of life, whether it's materially or whether it's spiritually, we saw that there is a really big connection in there. And then finally, to be service to humanity. We are not living, each one of us is not living by ourselves in an island. We are living in societies. We have to work together. We have to strive to make wherever we live a better place for all of us, more enjoyable, more comfortable. And we see that there is a lot of suffering, there is a lot of shortage, there is a lot of inequality in there. Hope Our hope is that through what we are doing, we can alleviate some of that. So those are our goals. What is holding us back? These things that we talked about, and they're getting worse and worse by the day, by the minute. Our materialism, social media, news, anything that we can think of it, they are working against us, against our desire to excel and become better and better. We talked about the purpose and of desires and temptations. This is not to stray us from our path. It's a way of testing ourselves to make sure that we are staying on the path. And through this process, we learn that life necessities will be provided if we believe that there is a God. But that doesn't mean that we sit around and say, God, you created me. Please provide everything just like you're providing for the flower. No, we still have to do our part. And then the incalculable and imperishable blessings will be showered upon us. So this was the spiritual part that we did. Then we talked about, all right, let's bring this into reality. What does all of this mean? How do we align our spiritual and material affairs together? So we started by looking at character traits. We are born with unlimited number of character traits because this is what when the Bible says God has created us in His own image, that's what it means. We have all of these, but these are hidden treasures that need to be discovered and developed. We all have them, but we need to work on them to make them better. I saw that everybody selected at least one or maybe a couple of character traits that they like to really work on. We talked about what do some of these character traits have to do with money, and I think everybody had some pretty good ideas. And it's amazing that when we do this in classrooms with young students in third grade, in second grade, they can make that connection. It's amazing that they can say, some kids say, "Oh, my dad has to wait to get his paycheck." 2 weeks, a month, or whatever that is. So that's what we talked about. Then we talked about our wealth and resources, which is not limited. When we talk about wealth, often people just think about material stuff, possessions. But we talked about that all of these knowledge, talents, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual powers, these are all different types of wealth. In addition to our happiness, to our love, to our hugs, to our smiles, everything. And all of these will be working, we'll be utilizing all of these different powers throughout our program to achieve our goals. So that's where we stopped. You had several assignments to do. Thank you so much to everyone that took the assignment seriously. I know that it may seem that we are being a little harsh on people, asking them to do assignments, but seriously, there is no test for this program. The way we learn is by doing the assignments, and you will begin to see the correlation of why we are doing these assignments. And some of them are one time that you will do, but a lot of them you will continue to do even after the program is over. So I'd like to know if there are any questions and who had a chance. One of your assignments was to share what you learned with others. Any questions, or who did you talk to about the program since last Monday? Any volunteers? Anybody? We have a full house here.
Sama and I talked together, but we didn't
Dilara,
talk to
your lips
anyone
are
else.
moving, but we can't hear you. Your sound is not coming through.
I can hear her.
I can hear her too.
Log out and log back
It's
inside.
you, Alex.
Oh, we can't hear you. It's either your headphone or your computer, one of the two.
Can you hear me, Alex?
You want to log out and log back in?
Alex.
No, it's you. Everyone is hearing me.
Sorry, I cannot read lips. I don't know if anybody else can read lips.
Send him a text.
Wait, okay.
Send him a message.
Can somebody else speak? Just make
On
sure
chat.
I'm not the problem.
We are all speaking. Can you hear me?
Oh, hold on a second. I guess the problem is me because I cannot hear anybody.
Unmute.
Yes.
Okay. Pointing finger. Okay. Where is my speaker? Can somebody talk, please?
Yes, can you hear me?
Should have tested this before. Can somebody keep on talking?
Okay,
Yes.
hello.
Oh, you guys can hear. I cannot hear.
Oh. Yeah. I sent him a message
can
to
somebody
please
say
unmute.
something?
You guys keep talking.
Irma is talking.
I'm
Everyone
talking.
is speaking.
Annalie, are you here?
And now it's muted. Okay, can somebody try now?
Hello.
Hi.
Much better. Okay. Sorry.
Yay.
Problem was me. All right.
Yay.
Facilitator. All right. Okay. Sorry. We should have tried this at the beginning. Okay. Now, who wants to share? Who did they talk to?
I was saying that Sama and I, we talked together about this, but not with anyone that is not attending the class.
Okay. Well, yeah, your
That
assignment.
doesn't count. So.
No, that doesn't count because he was there. So that doesn't count. Anybody else?
I talked with Gelara and it doesn't count.
That doesn't count, guys. You cannot talk to somebody who's in class and you cannot talk to your...
Oh, I talked with Nasr too.
That doesn't count. And you cannot talk to your imaginary...
I talked to a few of my friends and family, but not the entire class, just some of it.
Okay.
I found one person interested, but she cannot attend till maybe the third session, and she was wondering if that's still allowed or not.
They have to do third session is if they can do the assignments, watch the videos. That's why we record the sessions. They can, if they can watch the videos and come up to speed on the assignments. Yes, we can definitely allow it. And you can also work with this person too. That would be great. I have no problem, but as long as they're willing to do the assignments, so that would be good. We can definitely let somebody else.
So some people have been removed from the group. Two of my friends among them. So can they join back and use the material?
So as you can see, I'm extremely serious about this course. Just because there's no fee to it does not mean that people can take it at granted. Yes, you're talking about Sarah. She had not done anything since last week. I removed her. She sent me a message that this is very unprofessional, and I did not want to say no. Unprofessional is the person who does not abide by the rules. Unfortunately, people think that, oh, it's a free class. I'll just attend whenever I can. So I did message her that she can, if she wants to watch the video and do the assignments and come up to speed, absolutely, there's no problem.
Okay.
So, but when they don't show up, when they don't send a message, several people messaged me this today, said, sorry, something has come up and we cannot come. I said, absolutely, no problem. But when there's no communication from people, I have no choice but to remove them because I do not know if they're serious about it or not.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Any question or anything from, and I just want to say that we have Uttam Rai from Nepal. He couldn't attend. He's actually done most of the program as a self-study, and he wants to do this program in his community for in schools. He's been really working with students there. And then also we have Irma, who's one of our facilitators. She's been with us for 5 years. So those are the only people that, there we go, there's Irma. And Irma lives in Rosarito, Mexico, but she's dual citizen. She goes back and forth and teaches classes in both sites. All right, so if there are no questions, let's start with our lesson for tonight. Are we good? Okay, so our lesson plan for tonight, we're going to be working on 2 lessons, patience and moderation. Basically, patience is about our goals and objectives. I'm very delighted. I always love to see when the participants list their goals and objectives. What is it? What do they want to do? Because throughout our lives, in different stage of life, we do different things. We want different things. Everybody wants something. And a lot of times when people say, Alex, how do you teach this to a second grader? It's like, well, second graders want something. Phones, I don't know if they even play with toys or bicycle anymore, but everybody wants something. So the lesson about patience is setting goals, creating a plan, and then sticking with the plan until we reach our goals, and then doing another goal. So who wants to share one of their goals? What is it that you guys, I browsed through all the everybody's goals. Do I have a brave person that wants to, I can either pull up their worksheet or they can tell us one of their goals.
Financial goals?
Doesn't matter. It could be either financial or non-financial.
I can say one. Buying a house.
Buy a house? Okay. All right. So I'm going to put that in here. We'll do this exercise together. So today is 11/18. You're buying a house. How much? Have you thought?
I don't know. Like 600.
Okay.
That would not be a house.
It was condo, apartment.
Yeah, a condo.
A place.
Yeah. And for those that are dialed in from outside of US, this is not $600. This is $600,000. And that's for like a small 1-bedroom condo, if you can find it in Southern California. So we just say 600. What's your time frame? Have you thought about the time frame that you would like to do this?
Couple years.
Okay, so let's say 2 years. Okay. What's your plan of action? What have you done to prepare for this purchase?
Pray.
That's okay. If you don't have a plan, it's okay, because that's a major purchase. And that's something that we can discuss throughout this program on how to prepare for home ownership. Okay.
So far, reducing the total amount of debt,
Okay.
save money, or invested in saving accounts that where your money grows faster than just like piling up cash.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Very cool. So I love working with people like yourself, young people that want to do this. We've done this several times. Just a small correction: you cannot invest in a savings account. So, but we'll learn what that means. How do we invest? All right. So the next one is, what are you willing to give up? Because in order to buy a house for that kind of a price, you got to give up something.
Japanese barbecue.
There you go.
Traveling probably.
Okay. Travel. All right. And
I love
why do you want to buy this house? Or this condo? What's the purpose of it?
um I mean multiple. Number one is I feel like when you're paying rent, your money's kind of going away.
Mhm.
So instead of paying rent, paying mortgage that money would come back to you.
Okay. Yeah, that's called building equity. That's what it
Yeah. Building equity.
Mhm.
And then yeah, that's like the main reason for now. And then of course just owning a place rather than renting.
Okay. All right. Very good. Okay. Sounds good. So you see, we just created a very short plan.
Mhm.
And this you can do it for anything that you want to do. For small stuff, and this is something that we always do in classroom, like when the kids say, "Oh, I want iPhone, let's put it 16." It's like, why do you want an iPhone 16? It's like, well, I want it, I need it. It's like, why do you need an iPhone 16? And the question becomes, do I really need iPhone 16? And we talk about it that just because our friends have it, the last thing we ever want to do, set a goal to compete with our friends, with our family, with somebody else. Because if we do that, that's all we're going to be doing in our lives. We're always going to be looking at somebody else that has more than us, and we'll be trying to keep up with them. And that is the worst thing to do. But unfortunately, a lot of people do that. And it could be something simple. It could be a pair of shoes. It could be pants. It could be phone, or even buying a house. We should always look at our own capabilities. What is it within our capabilities? That's the first thing. And then coming up with the plan, how much, what it is, how long, and begin to work on it. All right, so that is the plan. Now, I know Ladan recently got married. Do you share this goal with your husband, or is it only your goal?
No, it's a shared common goal.
Okay, all right. So I'm going to actually move this down to the family goal because it's a shared family goal. Now, who can tell us? So, what do you think might be different between a personal goal and a family or partnership goal? Does anybody have any idea?
What's the difference?
Yeah, what would be the difference between personal goal and a family goal?
All people should be on board.
Exactly, exactly. So this one is definitely a family goal because Lada probably cannot do this by herself. She has to do it with her husband. And then if you have family, if you have children, or for that matter, if you're in a business partnership, it's the same thing. But then a personal goal could be something that only benefits me or benefits Lada, and it could be anything like getting I don't know, learning a new talent or something like that. That could be a personal goal, which obviously other people would benefit from it, but it would be mostly for the person who's setting this. So that's why we have two different areas in here. For individuals, obviously everything is under personal goal, but then those that are in a partnership, in a family environment, that is when we do different goals. Okay. Any question on how we set goals? And these goals are not static. It's not like we set this and say, all right, that's it. It's always dynamic because changes. Price of home could change. They could go up, they could go down. There are a lot of different items that could affect our goals. So we always have to monitor it and then track it. So any questions here?
Hello, Alex.
Yes. Hello, Tom.
Yeah. Okay, it's morning here, so good morning to all of you. Okay, I'm Uttam from Nepal. I just really want to share my experience regarding house which you have mentioned in your family goal.
Okay.
See, right now I'm living in my own house, which I bought from my staff benefit, which I get from my bank.
Okay.
But now it's really funny. I've already left my job, and now since I've already fulfilled my dream of owning a house, living in it, now I'm looking to sell this house so that I can get more fund to put in my another business. So that's this concept of house. It's a very trickier one, which I think I'm going through because since I'm living here with my family, and obviously my family is emotionally attached with this house, I'm finding it very difficult to convince her to let go it off, to sell it off so that I can get some fund to put it on my business. So that's why this whole concept of house, it's even though it's a financial concept, I think it's more of an emotional concept also, which is very difficult to break.
Mhm.
I'm finding it very hard to convince my wife to let go it off. But since I've already left my job, I need some fund. So still I'm in the process of convincing my wife, but let's see. But we can't just say, okay, I'll have my own house, I'll live there, I'll have a good time. But the financial
Not on the camera.
condition can change anytime. So that's why I think we should, even though it's an emotional purchase, the house, we should also look it from a very practical point of view and a financial point of view. We can use it when we need it. So I think that's that's comes the real value of understanding the whole concept of asset.
Okay.
So that's why let's see. I'm trying to convince my wife. Maybe she will also agree.
Okay. Very
Yeah.
good.
Okay, it was just an observation.
All right, very cool. So we'll definitely pray that you and your wife come to a mutual agreement. But that was a perfect example. It's a maybe when you guys bought it together, it was a common goal, but now it's kind of has changed a little bit. So, but through consultation, and that's what's important. Through consultation, we can achieve any goal. All right. So let's continue on. I want to get into this table in here. This is a visual kind of showing of what we talked about last week as far as our spiritual and our goal in here. And we put it into the investing for future. So a house is definitely an investment. Education is an investment. But this is what we have seen that throughout life as we know it, from the time of point of conception in the mother's womb. That's why if you remember, I asked, when do our financial affairs start? What we believe and what we've seen based on the writings is that it starts at the point of conception. Obviously, at that point, we are not dealing with money, but in that 9 months, remember, mother provides for everything. The fetus continues to develop the limbs that it needs for this world. So it is investing for the future. Are there any spiritual goals? We don't know. I don't remember. I don't know if any of you guys remember what happened in the mother's womb. But then we come to this life. We come on earth. So the first kind of average 21 years, we are forced to go and learn education. That's what we are learning. So, and our parents continue to pay for our life necessities. We gain some education, some experiences, and some money. We begin throughout, depending on age 14, 15, 16, we begin to earn some money. Then all of that, even though that we don't understand, why do we have to learn physics? Why do we have to learn chemistry and all of that? But some of those come into fruition when we come into our working years, from 21 or so, or 25 or so, until the age that we cannot physically work anymore. Now here, we rely, first we start by active income, and then our goal, one of the goals should be to have passive income. And we'll talk about passive income a little bit. And throughout this process, we again continue to enhance our education, enhance our experiences. With the hope that we know for most people, the next stage, some people call it retirement, some people call it next stage, but that is when we physically cannot continue to work anymore, or we don't want to physically work. We want to enjoy the fruits of our working years. And that's when we continue. We want to make sure that we have passive income so we can enjoy a worry-free life. This is our life on earth. This right here, this is our life on earth. And then if you remember, there was the 7 commandments that we shared last time. Not only we are concerned with our material life, but for those of us that believe there is spiritual life, we also need to develop our spirituality. And again, once we leave this earth behind, life beyond here, let's hope that we left a legacy behind, that somebody will continue to do some good work in our name, because according to some of the writings, actually they all talk about next life, but they say that our progress in the next life part of it depends on what people do in our name that we are left in here. So let's see, there's a question from Jacqueline. What if I want to achieve the goal for my family, but I'm the only one who can work towards it, putting my children in a better school, Let me see if I can read the rest of it. So question that Jackie is having from Uganda. She's saying that what if she's the only one who's sharing that goal? She wants to, that's a great goal. She wants to put her kids into a better school, but it seems like she's the only one that is working toward that. Anybody has any recommendation for Jackie? It seems like it's kind of the same thing. Well, Tom wants to sell the house so he can concentrate on something else, but his wife does not share. Jacqueline is saying that other members of her family are not sharing. Oh, let me see, sorry. But I'm the only one who can work towards it. She says she's the only one who can work toward it. Do I put it under personal or family goal? So Jacqueline, I would say you should put it still under family goal because you're doing this for your children. Sorry, I did misunderstood the question. So that should go under the family goals. All right. Now, this concept of active and passive income. Who has any idea that can tell us what's the difference between the two? Any thoughts?
Hello.
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead, Peter.
Yeah, so with active income, you work to make it. But passive income, you have built a system that keeps giving you the money without you actively engaging in it or not. You still make the money.
Okay. Can you give an example of each one?
So active income may be your day job.
Okay, your day job.
Yes, and passive income may be an investment that you have that pays you dividend or interest.
Okay, very good. So most of us do have a daytime job that we wake up in the morning and we go work and we get paid. Do you have any investments that's giving you passive income? If yes, what?
Like 401k?
401k, okay. That's one type of a retirement account in US, okay, which that is when we work somewhere, actually all employers are required by law to provide that, okay. Other types of passive income.
Renting a property.
Renting a property, yes.
Stocks, maybe.
Stocks, yes, exactly. All right.
Affiliate marketing.
Affiliate marketing, yes, exactly. There are a lot of examples of passive income. So passive income, basically, as Peter was saying, is we make an investment and we leave it there. Sometimes it may require a little bit of a work from time to time, just kind of looking at it like stocks. Stocks is you can buy it and then leave it there, just kind of take a look at it from time to time. But it does not require daily from 9 to 5 doing stuff in order to make money. Okay, let me see. Jacqueline says passive income comes in even when you are sleeping. Very good. Selling stuff on your website, while active income only comes when you're physically working. Perfect example. Passive income could be royalty that you receive from an IP. It could be a song that you've written, a music that you've written, a book that you've authored, painting does not have, but a recipe that you've created that will continue to sell. So these are all examples of passive income. All right, any questions here before we go into our breakout session? It's time for our breakout. So we can talk more about these different type passive and active incomes. Are we good? Okay, I'm going to stop sharing and create. Anna, you're okay with taking one of the breakout rooms?
Yeah, I'm okay.
All right. Transcript, caption, pause. Breakout rooms. Let's do 2. And Anna, you can see the questions for the breakout rooms in that file?
I have the spreadsheet.
Okay. All right. Cool. That so we got 7 and 8. Anna is on the first one and I'll go on the second one. All right, so it's bottom of the hour. We'll take 10 minutes in the breakout room. So the questions are the first one is, what legacy would you like to leave? So that's something that we'll talk about, and then we can also talk about passive and active income. So let's go to our breakout rooms, please.
Hello.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we didn't really talk about what legacy we'd like to leave, but we can do this. What would you like to leave behind? How would you like to remember it after we leave Earth? Have you given it any thought, or is that too far off? Nas?
Oh, what I had on my list, one of them was I think the unity in this on this planet, it's something, if you bring people together, that's what kind of a legacy I like to have, like if I could
Okay.
accomplish anything like that.
Okay. Others, who else has thought about, I know we get so busy with life right now at this moment with all their life necessities, food, water, clothing, shelter, and health, that often we don't think about the future. Who else has thought about?
Well, I think everyone would like to be remembered with good deeds and like good behaviors and services and stuff like that. But for example, I would like to be remembered, or I would like to leave some materials as well for the, you know, if there's any second generation, or if there's any friends or families, that'd be nice to leave them some materials as well.
So can you give an example of what kind of material stuff you're thinking about?
Yeah, like for example, if I got a house,
okay,
and I'm pretty sure after my death, someone would be using that house, and it's like something that you'd be remembered of.
All right. Okay. Other thoughts? Who else has thought about? Okay.
I
Well,
want
go ahead.
I want to change some stuff and go. So
Okay.
I don't care if they remember me or not, but I like I want it to be the way that when I go, like some stuff has changed here in this world.
All right. Have you thought about anything specific?
Yes.
That's very broad. Okay. Can you give an example?
For example, in architecture industry, I believe there are many people who actually need what architecture can bring to them, especially in less developed areas.
Mm-hmm.
But as I am in the industry, it limits to the people who can afford it. But it shouldn't be like that. Like it should be actually those who can't afford it, they need it more to have a better living space.
Living space. Okay. All right. That's very good. Okay. Anybody else would like to share? Patsy?
Yeah, I was trying to think about a legacy. It's like, what does that mean? Is it's like maybe a project or a special work that you did that people will always remember you by? And it's funny because I was watching just parts of the fight between what's his name?
Yeah, Mike Tyson.
Yeah, and at the end, he said they asked him, "This is your legacy when you die," and he was just very negative about it. He was kind of being humble. He goes, "I don't want to have a legacy because when I die, I'm dead, I'm gone." So I thought, really, is that what you think about a legacy?
Okay.
But anyway.
All right. Well, many people don't think. I mean, this is not something that people think. And even if you don't believe in life after death, I mean, I can still be selfish and say, yeah, I like to be remembered by something. I left something behind. I did some kind of a good work that people will continue. I mean, we can see there are a lot of great people that have left something behind. libraries, museums, inventions, discoveries that they have done that we will remember them for ages and ages for history to come. So yes, Patsy.
I was thinking too that, like people who donate large sums of money and their names are on a building, wouldn't that be kind of like something that's you're being attached to and it's not really a legacy? I don't know. You have your big name on there and
Big name on there. I don't know. I mean, that is that's a personal thing. Whether they want to put somebody's name on it, or I personally like to think that I made a difference in somebody's life, not necessarily like you say, a name on a building or on a brick. Sometimes you see that people donate money for a school or college, and then they put their name on a brick in the wall. It's like, yes, that is good, but I like to personally. I think I'm hoping that Mind Treasures is a legacy that I leave behind and our family leaves behind, and will continue to go on and on. All right, let's go on to the next section. Let's talk about passive income. So I think we all know what active income is. Who has actually started having passive income? Now, you don't have to share exact details, but Parva.
Me.
Okay, very good.
I just learned about this high interest bank.
Okay.
So I added some money there, and then I'm just hoping I get some interest, high interest rate back from saving the money.
Okay. All right.
Is it income?
So saving account is not a
I don't know if that's
yeah, savings account is not considered, because savings kind of go up and down, especially here in US. Yes, Jackie, I saw your note. Sorry, my chat was closed. I'll read yours too. Savings accounts, they're temporary. They're good for short-term period. Let's say Lada wants to buy a house, and for the duration that she's saving for the house, it's good to keep it in a saving. But right now we have high interest rate because of the federal bank. It has a high interest rate, but those are going to go down. So those are not really passive income. That's just a short term. The passive income is something that will even last much longer, but it's a good start. So that's, I'm not saying why you did it. It's good. But we'll kick it into a higher gear in there. All right. Before we go on, Jacqueline had, yes, I do have Nasser and I have Patsy. Jacqueline said, I forgot to read her message. On the last question, she said, I'd like to be remembered by my integrity and trueness in doing my work. So that is the legacy that she is putting in. Thank you. Nasser, you had your mic open about the passive income. What do you got?
But the high yield saving account that she was mentioning, if that's what she has, I mean, if she has a large amount of money at 5%, or get treasury notes, I guess, or CDs accounts, they're usually on the higher interest. That's still kind of is passive, right?
It is passive, but those are, you know, that how it is in US. You've lived here for long enough. You know that our interest, those 4% or 5% interest rate, they're not going to last too long. They're just going to go down to 0.01%, which is our norm.
Well, at the time that you can take advantage of it is kind of.
Yeah. And there are, I've been doing for the past 2 years, I've been actually getting more on the 10-20%. But again, those are short term too, and they're not risky. There are a lot of banks that offer incentives to open accounts, banks and credit card. That's where I've been parking my money. We'll talk about that later. But we've been getting more of those. Patsy?
Pensions.
Pensions, yes.
They considered passive.
Yes. And pension is one type of retirement that when you work for a corporation for a long, and it has to be a large corporation. Patsy used to work for a college. So they do have that once you retire, in addition to what people have saved for themselves, they also provide pension. Sama?
I receive royalty for the music I make.
Very good. Music. We're almost at the time. I'm gonna leave this, close the rooms. All right. Anybody else? So these are all great ideas, and we're going to add on to these passive incomes. We're just, especially for our younger adults that are here, it's a great time to start doing more and more investments. Some of them could be risky, some of them could be a little less risky, but that's something that we have to continue to do, work on increasing our passive income, because it is guaranteed that our physical body will not continue to work forever and ever. All right, let's go back to the main session. We're waiting for a couple of people. Just Jacqueline that's coming back, and Irma. Why does it say close in 39 seconds? Okay. All right. Anna, what did you guys discuss?
Well, we had a little bit of everything. We talked about, leaving a legacy for our family, for our children. We also had someone sharing living a legacy for your community. Also, just leaving legacy, just to spread light and love, just to leave us the thought of a person, just thinking about a person just as that light and love for others as well. So I think we all had a pretty share of ideas when it came to leaving a legacy, and we all came together with the same goal, which is very positive.
Okay. All right. Very good. Did you guys talk about passive income too?
No, we didn't get to that one.
Oh, you needed more time. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So in our group was a mixture of, yes, we had the same thing, bringing people together, creating unity, leaving a house. Somebody said if they buy a house, they're sure that they'll leave it for somebody. Doing architectural enhancements for people that don't have a place to live. So those were the things that we talked about as far as leaving a legacy. And I mentioned that I'm hoping that this Mine Treasures will be my legacy, our family's legacy, that will go on and on for, I don't know for how long. Maybe it'll be a short time, maybe it'll be a long time. I have no idea. It really depends on people like yourself, that how far this will be carried forward. Because again, this is not just something that us individually use it. We use it for ourselves, we learn it, and then we can pass it on to our children. And it's something that this financial education is something that 100% of population throughout the world needs it. Nobody can say, I don't need this. All right. Then we talked about the passive income. Sama creates music. Maybe you can share. Sama, what is your music? What kind of music do you create?
Mostly for TVs and radios.
Okay. Do you write note? Do you create the music or lyrics, or can you share with us a little bit?
Yeah, it's mostly commercial music for promotions and stuff like that. And I got my own band, which is working on the first album to release pretty much soon. And yeah, that's about it. But as far as the royalties I was talking about, it's like in the United States, there's an institution. When you join the institution, you kind of get a percentage of the royalty for any music you make, and it's like a passive income. That's a nice thing to have.
Okay. All right. Very good. So that's great. We talked about Patsy mentioned about pension, and pension is a form of retirement here in US that usually large corporations offer. But then, like I said, for those of us that are living in US and working for any company, again, in California, it's by law. It doesn't matter how small or how large the company is, they have to provide 401k. 401k is an employer-sponsored retirement account. We'll talk about the specifics later on, but it's something that if your employer has not offered it to you, we can talk on the side, and then you should definitely ask them to provide you with that. And then we also talked about the savings. I want to make sure that we get kind of clear. We'll talk more about it, But putting money into a savings account, it's very safe. And investments and passive income usually requires some risk. If I were to put, let's say, $100 into a savings account, whatever the bank is going to give me. Right now in US, interest rates are fairly high. I mean, when we say high, it's not comparable to other countries. Right now, we can get between 4 to 4.5% interest rate. That's very easily doable. But then that is totally depending on how much the federal government is providing interest. Uttam, what's the interest rate on a savings account in Nepal?
It depends. In case of a bank like Standard Chartered, they are offering about 2%.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. In case of another new banks, it can go up to 4% in
Okay.
saving.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Peter,
Yeah.
oh, sorry. Peter, how's it in Ghana? What are you guys getting in Ghana?
4%.
4%? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's that. As you can see, every country is different. If you lived in Iran, you get 25%, but then the money devalues so fast that 25% does not even cover. You lose the principal before you even know it. So this is the difference between a lot of different countries. The concept is the same, but how much that 2% or 4% is worth, that is something that it really depends on the location. And I was sharing in our group, there are currently one of the things that if anybody has a good amount of saving or has payroll, there are banks that offer bonuses, and that's something that I do outside of this the Mind Treasures group. That's something that I do outside. We have been doing about 10 to 20%. Now that's not long term; it's very short term. It's very safe. It's by opening up bank accounts, either putting money in there anywhere from $5,000 to $20,000, $30,000, or for those that have direct deposit. If you work for an employer, there are ways of getting these bonuses. They are limited, but it's something that can be added on if you're saving, like Ladan, you're saving for a house. So this could be added on to that. And these are all legal stuff. These are all big banks. These are all legal stuff. No risky business or anything like that. Okay, so I think we talked about enough active and passive income. Any questions before we move on to moderation? Nope, we're good. All right, so let me share my screen. We go back to here. Okay, so we set our goal. Now, what's the system to make sure that we can track this or actually get there? So let me ask you, Ladan. You said you want to buy this with your husband. Are you going to save up the whole $600,000, or what's the plan? How are you going to buy this?
No, probably 15% down.
15% down. Okay, all right. And then what about the rest of it? What are you gonna do for the rest of the 85%?
Mortgage.
Mortgage. Okay, all right. Do you have a way of tracking? Because this is kind of long term. For 2 years, you're gonna save up 15%. What's 15% of 600? That's about
90.
90,000. Thank you. My math is really, seriously, I'm really bad at math. So 90,000 in 2 years. Have you started to track that, Ladan, to make sure that in 2 years you do have saved that much?
Yes.
Okay, how are you tracking that?
By putting aside a specific amount on a monthly basis.
Okay, all right. Okay, very good. What are your thoughts? You think you can make it by then?
Yeah.
All right. And I know you're big on travel. I do see your post on Instagram, so I know you love to travel, but that's something to give up. That's a big sacrifice because travel is our #1 luxury too. And so how is that going? Is that going to be easy to give up travel?
No, but we've become smarter with it and trying to use points wherever we go and like transfer those points on like specific airlines that we're trying to travel with, so we don't have to eliminate it completely. We just have to choose smart on the location and then how much that's going to cost us, where it could be minimum expense.
Okay. All right. Very good. And I'm a big advocate of points. I'm just crazy about points. I've been doing points, and these are, for those that are not familiar, these are accumulating credit card points. So by making purchases, instead of purchasing it cash, making the purchases on credit card points, and using those points, as Lauren said, to purchase, to buy airline tickets, hotel tickets. Those are the best values. In the last 2 years, I've accumulated, now we have a lot of expenses because we have rental properties, but I've accumulated 7 million points in the last 2 years. And there is a system to it. There is a specific system to it. If anybody's interested, again, that's outside of the this program, but that's something that we do teach as well. But we'll do that.
I'm very interested.
Yes, I thought you might be interested in that.
Me too.
Okay, all right. So yeah, direct message me in WhatsApp, and then we can get started on both. If you want to take advantage of bank bonuses and credit card bonuses, we can talk about those offline. We'll do that.
Okay.
All right. So in order for us to achieve any goals, we need to have a system of tracking our finances, whether it's saving up the 90,000 in here or whatever that is. So just looking at our bank account, that's one way. But let me ask you this. Who is here actually keeping track of their income and expenses? That has any uses either a Excel sheet, uses any kind of software, or even a piece of paper. Is anybody keeping track of their income and expenses?
We kind of do.
Okay, Sama and Ladan, all right.
I do too.
Okay, Nash, okay, anybody
I
else?
do too.
All right, I hear a lot of I do's. Where's my participant list?
Yeah, we do that too. Me and Mashit.
Okay, all right, very good. So what do you guys use?
I used to use Mint, but they closed it. They transferred it to Credit Karma, but I never could use it. Now I'm doing it with Excel sheet like a caveman.
Okay, well, there's a much easier way. I know I was so heartbroken when Mint did that. It's like, why?
Yeah.
What were you guys thinking about? I want to go reach out to the engineers who decided to do that. So for those of us that are in US, the replacement for it's Rocket Money. I just put it in the chat. It's a free tool. It pretty much does the same thing. It connects to all the bank accounts and credit cards. Seppi,
Is it free? Because
Yes.
I think I downloaded this, but it had fees. Like it was, maybe I'm mistaken.
The basic version is free. There are some limitations to it, but for most people, the basic, yeah, every time you go in there, it's going to try to tell you, or do you want to go up to the premium, which is $4 or maybe $11. But no, you can use the basic one for free. It has all the features. Again, you can connect all your bank accounts, all your credit cards, pensions, savings, anything that you have, you can connect
Can
it.
you do budgeting with the
Yes.
basic?
Yes, you can. I think I've never used the budget. I'm not using Mint for myself, but I have several clients that are using Mint. I'll have to get back to you. I'll look it up and see if you can do budgeting. But before we even
I'll download it.
Okay, before we even get to budgeting, it's even more important to do our cash flow. And this is going to be an exercise that most people dread. So I will not get into it, because asking people what you do with your money, they have a fear of saying what they did with it. So actually, let's do it right now. So this is in your worksheet. This is one way of keeping track of your income and expenses. It's very limited. But the goal of this is to start, either use Rocket Money or you use this one. If you don't want to share your numbers in here, that's fine. If you're using Rocket Money, or if you want to put some arbitrary number, it's developing the habit of keeping track of your finances. That's what's really important. So Sepida said she's using Excel sheet. Who else is using what? Nash, what are you using?
I'm using Excel sheet. I mean, I started 6 years ago and I built, it's similar to what you have, but mine has every single day of a month for the entire year.
Wow.
So it tells me every basically day how much money I have. I mean, based on just general expenses. It's not like if I go out tonight, then it's not going to be added, but in
Okay.
general form, yeah.
All right. Okay. Wow. I've never had anybody do daily bookkeeping, but that's
I'm not doing it daily, but at some point it was necessary. Now it's not as much, but
okay. I heard a couple of other people said that they're doing something. Um,
I'm on Rocket Money, but I think I like this worksheet.
okay. All right. Well, yeah, this worksheet is a little bit limited because you cannot connect to any bank account or anything. You have to enter everything manually, and we'll go over it to see how it's done. But it can be used in conjunction with Rocket Money. All right, Gilare, what do you guys do?
We used to use Mint,
Uh-huh.
and then there were no Mint anymore, and then we shifted on Excel sheets,
Okay.
and then we gave up a couple of months ago because it's very hard to do it manually.
It is very hard.
I have installed Rocket Money some
Okay.
time ago,
Uh-huh.
and then I never like signed up. I just had it and I was waiting, like I was procrastinating.
Okay. All right. Well, Rocket Money, that's the other good thing about Rocket Money is that they can be shared between couples.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, and it links to your bank account automatically. So every time you go in there, it downloads all the transactions. We'll go over that one as well. Let me hear from our international friends. Or Tom, Peter, or Jacqueline, do you guys keep track of your finances? If yes, how? What do you guys use?
Yes, so here I'm using Excel
Okay.
spreadsheet to do that.
Okay. All right.
Basically, I've been using Excel sheet.
Okay. All right. And Jacqueline, how about you? If you can put it in chat. If you're speaking, I know you're unmuted, but we cannot hear you. Now, this time I know it's not me anymore. Okay, so we'll wait for, I'm sure Jacqueline will. Okay, I keep falling off the wagon. Yes, this exercise, this habit is something that does not come naturally. It's difficult. It's difficult to stay with, but it's something that if you develop, I've been doing this for the last 30 years since we've been married, 32 years. I can go back 32 years ago and see how much we were spending on food. Not that I ever need to, but it's something that can be done. And the way this one works, and because this is going to be one of your assignments for next week to get this started, the way this works, I'm going to remove so we just put in job in there. It's both a budget and also a cash flow. So if I'm making $5,000 a month, in the yellow area, I put in 5,000 and the sheet automatically puts it for every month. Now, there are a lot of people that their income changes on a monthly basis, but that's okay. This is, we're saying that I think on average, every month, my income is going to be 5,000. Then we come here to our expenses. And if you have more, if you have other stuff like the passive income, this actually comes from another sheet. We'll talk about it later. But let's say I have job one. If I have two jobs, this is job one, and this one is job two, and I earn 2,000 from job two. So that's my total income, average monthly income.
Is that after taxes?
Yes, after taxes, yeah. So because the taxes does not even come to our pocket, that comes to you. Then there are some expenses that are fixed, like whether we're renting or whether we have a mortgage. Let's say San Diego, $2,000 at least. This is my rent that I have to pay. Utilities, let's say 200 for electricity, water, whatever that I have to pay. So you fill this up, and as you're filling this up, let's say 500 for supermarket, phone should be fairly simple. So that's how it gets built up. It's fairly easy. Now, this part of it is easy. The difficult part comes not to build it, but to keep track of it. Now, keeping track, what does it mean to keep track? Let's say my income is not fixed. This month, my job paid me, it was hourly, and I only got $4,500. This job too, I only got 1,000. So I'm short about 1,500 in here. Now my rent is not going to go down. Here in US, the rent keeps going up. So my rent stayed the same. Let's say utilities, it was summertime, it was hot. I had to keep the air conditioning on for a while. Supermarket, I had some friends coming in from out of town. I paid a lot more. Now, if I'm just gonna add one of the eating out. I didn't feel like cooking at home and I went overboard and I spent a lot of money eating out. So what this sheet does, I know Nasser is saying, what did you eat, man? How many steaks did you have? So as you can see on top, it gives me a red warning. Hey, you spent $2,800 more than your income. You better watch it. So the budget, creating the budget, it's fairly easy, but then sticking with it every month, that's going to be a habit that takes a lot of discipline to do. It's not something that we're born with. It takes time. And often people, as we were just hearing here, some people try it and then they give up in the middle. They try it and then they give up in the middle. But if you can develop this habit, it would be extremely helpful, not only for knowing how much comes in and goes out, but also it helps us achieve our goals. So I'm going to stop here and see if there are any questions before I move on. Okay. Anna says, still learning. And don't be I know this could be overwhelming, but we will work on it together. We will work on it together. There's many of our past participants. I continue to work with them even after the 7-week series is over. It all depends on what they want to do, how much they want to share with me. Some people share everything, like they set up Rocket Money and give me access to everything. That's more of on a personal level that I have with some of the participants. But then others just fill in their information. Often I see it's like, well, why are you paying so much for your internet or for your phone? Who is your telephone carrier? Why are you paying for this and at the same time for that one? They should be all included in the same thing. So those are some of the areas that I can help with, either during the program or after the workshop series are done. Okay.
What is the section? It says the percentage for the expenses supported by passive income.
Good question. So the passive income, so there are two tabs in here. There's the cash flow. Cash flow is what comes in and what goes out. And then assets and liabilities, this is what we're left with. What do we have or what do we own? And that number comes from here. So let's say if I have a rental house. Rental condo. We'll start with a rental condo. And I have purchased this and the value is, let's say, 100,000. 100,000, yes. And it gives me a monthly net income of $300. So for this month, it gave me $300. Now this number comes back in here and shows up in there because now that's my passive income. So the rental that I have that's generating money, that $300, this percentage, now this 4% is 300 divided by the 8,300 that I'm spending for my life necessities or for my personal expenses. And the goal is, I mean, we'll talk more about this next week, but I just wanted to get started. The goal is to keep on increasing our assets and liabilities, the ones that generate passive income, and this number keep going up to get to a point where 100% of our life expenses are supported by passive income. I know this might be a little bit too much, but we'll talk about this over and over again. But that's how this sheet works. The cash flow and the assets and liabilities, they work in conjunction. Any questions?
Also, there's an outline says spend on there on outgoing.
Oh, this one, that's just a category. So we have spending.
But just so they get.
Yeah, so that's all the expenses. And then at the bottom, we have share, invest, and save. That's what that spend corresponds to. Okay. That's just the header.
Do you usually fill it up at the end of each month?
Yes, that's recommended. So at the minimum, you should do it at the end of every month. Once the month closes, You can look at your bank statements, look at your receipts. For us here in US, it's fairly easy because we only spend either on debit card or on a credit card. So importing those, and if you use Rocket Money, it will combine. Once it learns the categories, it will combine them for you automatically. If you want, then you can bring that into a spreadsheet. If you want to bring it here or your own spreadsheet, then you'll have to do that manually. Okay, other questions? Again, don't get overwhelmed by this. We'll be talking more and more about this next week and then come. But now this is the system that we've just created to make sure that, all right, the house that we want to buy and we need to save up $90,000 in 2 years, are we on track or not? And then every month we can look and see, oh, we ate out too much this month. Let's cut that back because that is not in line. And whatever is left over from here, so let's say I didn't eat that much, obviously. So if I have $2,400 left at the end of the month, that should be reflected in our assets and liabilities. My asset should go up. So if I have a bank account, then I will add the value in here. Again, I don't want to go too much into this because it could become overwhelming a little bit.
We're not having this sheet yet, right?
Yes, you do. Yeah, it's in your worksheet. You have
Oh, is it?
Oh, you have access to the entire program. Everything is already in your worksheet.
What's the name of the tab?
Cash flow,
Okay,
and then
thank you.
assets and liability. If you once you log in, it's actually the second, the third, and the fourth tabs.
Oh, I saw it. Thank you.
Yep, it's there. So again, it's up to you how much information. Now, if you decide to put your actual numbers in there, please know that this is very confidential. I do not share it with anybody, even with the co-facilitators, Anna or Irma, they do not get to see it because this is very confidential. And we do not share it. But if you don't want to put actual numbers in there, you can put some fake numbers, but get into the habit of doing this. Developing the habit is a lot more important. But if you want to work with me on the side on different stuff, then obviously I would need to know what's happening. Nas, you have a question? Your microphone is on mute.
Yeah, so once this series are over, we don't have access to this form anymore?
You have access to this for the rest of your life. I would not deprive you of having access to this. So, and this is one thing that every year, then you would have to make a copy of this, and we can always keep a blank copy. So you don't have to like wipe everything out. But no, your worksheets are yours for the rest of your life.
Thank you.
Other questions? I actually want to ask Anna because Anna just started. Let me ask Anna because Anna just started on this process when she completed the program and she's been doing this. Anna, what's been your experience with this?
Well, I'm actually doing it every weekend instead of every month. Just because I do forget a few things. This is very new to me. Like I've never been taught to organize and respect my money like this. So it's been a learning process, and now I'm very aware of what I spend, and I see myself questioning myself every time I go to the store. Do I really need it? Or is it really, and do I really need it or just want it? So because we are very conscious of, well, at least I am very conscious about what I'm spending now. And it has helped me a lot to realize that I've been spending in a lot of things that were not really needed, that I just wanted. So I'm still in the process because I still haven't gotten to my goal, which is to save. But I'm also feeling that as my career is changing a bit, I'm changing ways to get income. So it's just a matter of arranging myself with that and having that stability. But and also I have goals to have a passive income. So I'm just in the process, and every month is a learning curve.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Yes, as you mentioned, it's usually for people, it's an eye opener. Because I have never met anybody who can process all this information in their head and say, oh, this month I spend this much. Rent, utilities, cell phone, internet, those are fixed expenses. But then how often do we go out? How often do we go buy clothing and just hang them in the closet and never use them? That is something that people cannot keep in their head. All right. So this is the mechanics of finances. But then there's another aspect to finances that often with couples, it's missing. Let's go. I'm going to get into the moderation because that's the second lesson that we have in here. So basically, moderation is creating a balance in life, whether it's our time, our money, how we spend time with our friends, family, with our coworkers, a balance in eating. And this really comes into a picture in a couple of different ways. I want to start with the time management sheet. So this is in your worksheet. Does anybody have challenges with managing their time? And we'll see how that affects.
Me.
Okay, who was that? Ladan, was that you? Okay, Sefi there. All right, everybody. Okay.
Angelara.
Okay, Angelara. All right. Like I said, this becomes like an AA meeting. They'll be, oh, I have this problem. Confession time. Let me make sure I have my thing in here. So what's wrong with your time management, guys?
Procrastination, lack of self-discipline.
All right. Okay. Ladan, you're shaking your head. Is that the same problem with you?
Yes.
Okay.
And also, I get my priorities wrong, I feel.
Okay. All right. Why is it that the three sisters all at the same time raise their hand? Is it a family thing?
Maybe.
No, we're just brave enough to confess.
Okay. All right. All right. I'm good with that. Okay. So time management, yes, it's basically the same thing as financial management. So we have done this, and this is going to be one of your assignments, at least for 1 week. We want you guys to allocate some time. And this would be mainly after work. So once you're home, this is your free time. It's like, I'll try to allocate some time and then try to keep track of it and see how it goes. So spiritual development, we put that on top because that should be on top of our priorities. Let's say I want to do 30 minutes, and these are in minutes. So I want to do 30 minutes of meditation, reading scriptures, praying, whatever I want to do. Family time, if you have family, this could be part of having dinner together or whatever we're doing. So let's say 60 minutes in here. Managing finances. Do you think we should allocate time on weekly basis for financial management?
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay, who's doing that? Who wants to confess that they're not spending time on their financial management?
Me.
Okay. See, and that's the thing. That's part of developing the habit. That's why I'm pushing everyone to allocate time to do the assignments, the weekly assignment. And that's why I'm very particular about those that say, oh, life was too hectic. Life was too busy. Well, our hectic lives are not going to change. Just as our body needs food and we have to attend to it, we have to sleep, we have to eat. If you have children, we need to attend time to them. We have to allocate time. Maybe not on a weekly basis. Nas was doing it on a daily basis for a while. So he was at a different level. But let's say 15 minutes. Again, not every week we need to log into our bank account and see how much money is in there. Probably that's not changing that much. But we need to allocate some time to it. Community service, whatever that is, 30 minutes. And it doesn't have to be every day. Reading, playing. So you get the idea. And the column B is for budget. So I just budgeted this time to do all of these. And then a week later, or not this one, something that you can do on a daily basis. Did I do my spiritual development? No, I was lazy. I forgot God. So I didn't put any time in there. Family time. Yes, I did good. I did 120 minutes. We had a big family gathering. Managing money, I forgot about it. I procrastinated. Community service, didn't do. So what did I do with the rest of my time? 360 minutes. I did 3 hours of just going through Instagram, up and down and up and down and up and down like a zombie.
Looks familiar.
Looks, there you go, Sama. Unfortunately, this is the reality of life. We get, and I do that too. Late at night after 9 o'clock, when my brain is fried, I try to fry it even a little bit more just by doing it on my phone. That's like, okay, and then I like, okay, what did I gain out of this? So this helps. Now, there are people that are so overwhelmed that I do have a sheet that has every 30 minutes for a whole week, because people cannot. I mean, they have tried. We had somebody last year that participated in our program, and even after a year, they just could not find time to attend to their finances. And I said, well, I cannot help you. So I gave them a half an hour daily sheet. They could not even do that. And I said, well, if I cannot show you what's happening to your life, then I cannot change. I felt like telling them that this AA meeting don't work for you. You need to be hospitalized to get fixed. But for some people, if you have anybody that falls in that category, I can add that sheet into your worksheet. Just let me know. You don't have to confess here, but I can add that sheet that has like every half an hour.
So you log what you do every half an hour?
Well, at the end, that has to be at end of the day. So at the end of the day, if you really think that you cannot manage your time, you're doing so many things, and often the problem becomes that we're taking on too many tasks. It's like we cannot say no, because our regular daily activities should not occupy our time that much. So that one, like I said, I don't have it in here, but it's every half an hour. You can either log it every half an hour, or you can do it once a day. So that gives you an idea of what am I doing with my time? Why is it that I'm always running out of time? That's kind of an extreme case. But let me know if anybody wants that. I can upload it to your sheet. That's why I love working with Google Sheet. I can just upload stuff to your sheet. That's not there. All right, are we good? Should we go for a breakout session to have more confessions from people? Let's see. For this, what are the questions? Moderation. Do you keep track of your finances? Where do you? Oh, so the big question, Anna, is going to be in the case of family environment or partnership, who is doing the finances? Who is managing? Who's keeping track of finances?
Okay.
Let me create my, okay, so it's 7 after, it's 8:17, and I will join, hold on. Okay, let's go to our breakout sessions, and then we'll come back in 10 minutes. And now we'll go into... All right, guys. So the first question that I have, especially if you're in a family or couple environment, how do you and your spouse or your partner keep track of your finances? Who wants to go? Lada, you're smiling because I know you're newlywed. What's going on between you two?
I keep track of it mainly.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what's your husband's name? Sorry.
Matthew.
Matthew.
Yes.
So what is Matthew's involvement in this process?
Following the budgeting rules that I create.
Okay. And do you have to use a broom or stick to make him follow?
No, not that often.
Not that often. Okay. All right. Okay, that's good. All right. Who else wants to share? Especially if you're in a partnership or a family environment.
So for us, sorry, Killer usually asks someone, do you have time to fill up the financial things, and I'm like, I have the time, but I don't have the mood, and then we stop doing it. And that's
Okay.
about it.
All right. Okay. So time, but no mood. Okay. Irma, you want to say something?
Um, I'm still trying to figure it out.
You and Rufus have been married for how long?
9 months. No, 10 months.
But you've been together for much longer than that. I know that you've been.
Yes,
Okay.
we've been together 5 years.
All right. There we go. Okay. All right.
I usually do it.
You usually do it. So what's Mashit involvement in this?
We kind of support each other to put the rules on it and follow that.
Okay. All right. You guys are actually a boring crowd. Last term that we did this, and this is what I always look for. I get excited when somebody last term, one of the ladies says, "Well, I pay for this and this out of my income, and then he pays that and that out of his income." And I said, "Okay, so how much is your total incoming and how much is your total outgoing?" She says, "Yeah, I just said this is what we do." And I said, "And I'm asking you, do you know how much comes in and where does it all go?" "Oh, we should have a joint checking account." I said, "No, that's not what I'm saying. Do you guys know as a family what comes in and what goes out?" And that, unfortunately, even in this day and age, is a big issue with a lot of couples, that they have either intentionally or unintentionally have separated their finances. They think it's a separate thing. You do whatever you do and I do whatever I do, we don't combine. And I usually like to make an example that if they have children, you don't say, "Oh, you raise this child that way and I raise this child this way." So it has to be a collaboration between the partners. One person can be do the technical stuff, do the budget, do all of that stuff, but then both have to be in line in what's happening, at least once a month, looking at it to see what's going on. Let's see, what other questions do we have in here? All right, let's have some confessions. Where do you think you're spending too much money that you can cut back on?
Eating out.
Eating out, okay.
Amazon.
What's that?
Amazon.
Amazon.
Amazon. Oh, Amazon. Thank you. Yeah, that Amazon. I think if we don't have some delivery once per day, the Amazon guy is going to get worried that are these guys still alive or not. There are 4 of us in the house, and I have 2 young adults that work on their cars, so they're constantly ordering things. Okay.
We're making jobs for them. No, I'm just kidding.
No, that's true. But you know that
Yeah.
Amazon is switching over to drones, so that stuff is going to go away. It's just going to be pure profit for Mr. Bezos.
How about subscriptions?
Thank you. And that's one feature that Rocket Money has. I don't know if it's part of the paid or it's even in the free version. It keeps track of your subscriptions that you're not even using. Irma, what subscription do you have that you're not using?
Washington Post.
Is that thing even around?
Wow.
Okay. All right. Well, that was a good one. Yeah. Rocket Money definitely does that. Who has Netflix?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
We
But
do.
I'm not paying for it. It was actually Mashit's mom's sign up for family plan for T-Mobile, and
Okay.
they gave us 1 year free. So
Okay.
yeah, we have that.
Okay.
But we didn't have it before that.
Okay. So who else has T-Mobile? Okay, Ladan, did you know that Netflix is part of T-Mobile? If you have the Magenta, you don't have to have a separate service.
No, I didn't know.
Here's a money-saving tip for you.
Yeah.
You have to enable it, and you have to have the Magenta plan. But yeah, I'd really love T-Mobile because whenever we travel, we get unlimited text and data through T-Mobile plan, and also Netflix is part of that. So you should be able to cut your expenses by what's Netflix? 10, 15 bucks? I don't know.
You can get that with ad for $6.99.
Okay. All right. So even a little bit helps. I mean, every little thing helps. So that's one tip in there. Okay. I'm reading the questions in here. How can participating moderation? So what do you think if you haven't created a budget? Who hasn't created a budget? I think everybody has a budget, right?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Do you think it would be easy? Jacqueline, is Jacqueline here? Yes. Yeah, I just saw your note about the time management. If I forget, please send me that message in WhatsApp later on, but I'll try to remember to add the timesheet in there. I think that's what you're asking. What was my question? Oh, do you think it's going to be easy to create that cash flow and budget and stick with it?
No.
No.
Why not?
It requires a lot of soul searching.
That sounds like spiritual rather than material.
Isn't it all connected?
It definitely is. Yes.
Excuse me, Alex, would you repeat the question?
So the question is, what's holding you back? If you're not doing your budget or if you haven't been able to stick with your budget, why is that? What's holding you back?
I think it's part of self-discipline and time management, I guess.
Okay.
Lack of time management and discipline.
All right.
Or when you don't keep track your spending and budgeting, you maybe lose it.
Okay. So one example I like to make, I think most of us drive, put a little sticker on the gas gauge, or if you're driving an EV car, how much electricity you got left in there. See how many times can you go trying to guess how much gas or electricity is left in your car, and see how long would it take before you're stranded on the side of the road, because it's going to happen. We can try to guess it, but eventually we will run out. Jacqueline says the discipline it takes to keep up with the budgeting is what makes it hard. It is. It's not something we were born with. It's not a talent we were born with. It's not one of the character traits or treasures that we were born with. It really needs a lot of work. Even with my wife and I, we've been married for 32 years. There's been time that she was doing part of it, I was doing part of it, and then we would say, "Oh, this is too much, that's too much." So we go back and forth and back and forth. But overall, we've always stuck with it, and we also have developed a discipline of not worrying about what the other one is going to do. Actually, when my wife goes to shopping, when she comes home, most of the time she comes home empty-handed. It's like, well, what's up with this? You didn't buy anything. Well, I couldn't. She's more of a window shopper than actually buying stuff. But we've never had any issue of worrying, oh, my wife went to mall again. God knows how much she's going to spend. Do I have to lock the credit card or make sure she doesn't spend too much? And those are things that come over time. All right. So let's see. I'm going to start to close the breakout so we can go back, but we have a minute. Any other thoughts? Anybody else wants to share anything about the budget or developing that discipline of not spending too much?
I guess one major reason that we don't do it is that it's not fun. It's hard. It's you prefer to spend your time on something else, watching TV, scrolling Instagram instead of it's not fun.
Mm-hmm. So how can we make it fun? How can we make it sexy?
I mean, the result would be some motivator if you know the result. If you have a long-term plan,
mm-hmm.
That'd be a motivator to make it a little bit funner than what it is.
Okay, all right, and that's what I hope. What we've done with our spreadsheet, it doesn't have any graphs or visual things in there, but there are some ways that we can do. All right, we're gonna get kicked back into. All right, is everybody back? Let's see. Yes.
We got kicked out.
Yeah, we got kicked out, but we were almost at the end of it, so we can continue our conversation here. Anna, what you guys got?
Well, we have pretty uneven share of of responsibilities for our finances. We heard men that were more responsible of their finances in their homes, and even also about who's spending more and who's not of their families. And I think it was an even share about some families have the men doing the finances, and some of them are doing the woman part of finances. I I also feel that we still might need a little bit of help with our partners to be able to be on the same track.
Okay. That's one thing we didn't discuss. We didn't keep track of between male and female who does. It seems like in our group it was mostly even out. I think that's what it was. Am I correct, guys? I think that's what it was. So the last comment that we were talking about, Sama was saying that the reason that they haven't been able to keep up with it is because it's not sexy enough. It's not fun. It doesn't get them excited. And I said, okay, so let's find a way to make cash flow and assets and liabilities fun. I'm open to ideas. I know it when you look at the mechanics of it, it's very dry. Yes, it's a spreadsheet or Rocket Money, whatever that is. You look at it, it's like, okay, so whoopie-doo. I spent this much on Starbucks and that much. What are some of the thoughts? What are your thoughts as how we can make it exciting?
Actually, I have a way. I
Okay.
used to do it like back in years. I used to divide my time weekly.
Okay.
So whatever would remain by the end of the week, I put it in the saving accounts.
Okay.
And when you divide the time in smaller portions, it's easier, and I don't know, it's kind of joyful.
Okay. All right. Other thoughts?
I think you need to be consistent at the beginning. It's not going to be fun, but it seems like we like it when the numbers built up. Like, for example, when we're playing video games, we love it when we go from level 2 to level 3.
Sure.
When we are rock climbing, we love it when the grades go higher.
Okay.
So the same thing for the spreadsheet. When you see that, when you get to a point that you see that your savings are building up, I think it's gonna get joyful.
Okay. All right. Any other thoughts? So definitely, yeah, we can do all of those. Let me go back to the spreadsheet. Share, and it's this one. Okay. So if you go back to the cash flow statement, this one, yeah, it's there are like 2-3 different colors in here. One thing that gets me excited now, of course, not over a monthly, but when what I have done is I have this spreadsheet, and then I have one that goes every decade since we've been married for 32 years. Then I see that the lines, and we have graphs in there, and I can add graphs in here too. It's like, all right, we started with when we both got married, we were both working. That was 93. That's when we got married. And then we bought our first, I had bought my first real estate, my home, before I got married. And then we bought our second home together, and then we started pulling equity out of the house and start buying rental properties. We started buying rental properties in 2006. And then from there on, that's when we really started our passive income. And it took us 10 years to get to a point where we didn't have to work anymore. The rental properties was supporting our lifestyle. So that's why I put this percentages in here. Again, every month it's going to be hard. You won't see that much, but over the years you will see it. And also in the assets and liabilities, we'll talk more about this. Hopefully you will get to see, like Ladan was saying, at the end, or it was Sefi, at the end of the month, everything that I didn't spend on eating out, or those are some of the things that friends share in the breakout. eating out, Amazon purchases, subscriptions. When we don't spend those, it gets built up and built up. And it's not just to have a bigger savings account or bigger assets, but that is going to support our goal in here. So just remember, we are not just going to accumulate material stuff, but it's to achieve all of these things that we have said. We want to enjoy a worry-free life. We want to have passive income because we know that our later years are definitely going to come. So that's something that I think we can do. We've been able to do it. It's taken a lot of discipline on both, all four of us, our family of four, but it is doable. Okay. Let's see. One of the things that in our group, it was mentioned subscriptions. Who has subscriptions that they think they can give up? This could be like Netflix, Hulu, Apple, whatever. Oh, Uber Eats. Do I see anybody smiling? Ladan is smiling. That's a smile of guilt.
I actually had Uber Eats and I didn't even know I had a subscription with them until like 2 months ago. And when I was going through it, and I had it for a year and a half. So I called and canceled it, but it cost me a lot. So that's why I hate Uber Eats right now.
See, these are the little things that we cannot just keep track of. And as I was mentioning in our group, Rocket Money does keep track of your subscriptions. And it does give you warning. Hey, why are you paying for this? I don't know if it just looks at it and says you have the subscription, but it does have a feature that tells you that you should be disabling the subscription because those subscriptions do cost. Let me see, something is in the chat. Jacqueline says, I think accounting for our time in smaller portions, every 30 minutes arrangements can create excitement from the sense of moment by moment achievement. So that's her input in here. If you don't get excited by this spreadsheet, which is all numbers, let's try the every 30 minutes of our activities to see what's happening in there. So there's a lot that we can do. And again, we talked in our group, finances, when you are in a family or a couple or a partnership, it has to be something that everybody is involved at their own level. The mechanics can be done by one person who's savvy and who has do this. So not both people have to constantly come in and put numbers into the spreadsheet, but at least once a month or once every quarter, the couple have to sit together and say, hey, what did we do? Why all of a sudden this month we spent this much on eating out or our travel went up? So those are the things that the worst thing that any partnership or any couples can do is just rely on the other one and not knowing what's happening. And I don't think we have anyone like that in here. Am I correct? Couples are working together on their finances, more or less. It seems like everybody. Yeah. Okay. All right. So that's good. All right. So let's see. On the moderation, I do have another tab. This is a great exercise. Who creates a shopping list before going to Costco? Sepide, Ladan, Anna.
Yeah, I do.
Okay. And I do, like I said, I do catch some people at Costco that are shopping without a shopping list. So if I see you there and you don't have your shopping list, because we kind of all live close to each other, we do run into each other at Costco. Why do you guys create a shopping list?
2 reasons.
What's that?
First, not to forget anything. And second is because when you go to Costco, you want to shop for like 1 or 2 weeks and you do not want to throw anything away afterwards. So you need to know what your meals are for the next week and you're shopping only for those 2 meals. Those like that week meals, like 2 or 3, whatever they are.
Okay, very good. All right. Other thoughts about why create a shopping list?
So you don't overspend.
Yes, exactly. So spending is one part of it, but as Gilari mentioned, waste is a big part of it too. I'm not kidding you. I used to have on my Costco list, there was what to buy and what not to buy. so many times I bought a new jar of mayonnaise, and mayonnaise in Costco is not a little jar; it's a huge one. And I'll come home and it's like we already had two of them, so would return them back. So this exercise is very helpful. You can also not time it, but see what's on sale. Has anybody ever used? This is for our friends in US. Has anybody ever used Flip? So
I think is that the one that you scan your
Yes.
receipt?
yeah. So Flip,
You what?
Flip shows you all the circular ads for different stores. Let me just do this. Okay. So basically, you can look at the weekly ads on all the stores that are around us. Up here, we don't have Food for Less, but we have Sprouts, so Ralph's, Sprouts, Vons. You can see, so if I search here for Vons is one of the stores that is commonly around here. Why can't I? So I can look at the weekly ads and say, oh, avocados are sale on Vons. Let's rack up on some avocados, but make sure that they're not too ripe so they don't go bad. I use this Flip a lot. We used to get these ads be mailed to our house. Some of them still do, Vons and Smart and Final do. So depending on where you're living and what's close to you, these really become in handy. So you can see what's on sale. Not that you would only buy what's on sale, but you can kind of plan some of your meals this way, and it really helps. There are also apps. So Smart and Final and Vons have their own apps. I use Vons app. Who uses Vons app? Anybody uses that? Oh man, you guys are missing out.
Yes, I do.
Oh, I mean, you do. Okay. Vons app has a lot of specials that you can go in there. Often I go to Vons and just open it and see what's on sale that I normally buy. Save quite a bit of money there.
Food for Less has a really good app too.
Yes, Food for Less has a good app too. Smart and Final has an app too. I haven't used Smart and Final that much. I don't know if they have that much, but yeah, if you have a Food for Less or Ralph's.
Ralph's, yeah, Ralph's.
Yeah, Ralph's and Food for Less are part of the same. So here are some more money saving tips that you can definitely utilize. So planning a little bit, even for when we do our grocery shopping, it helps a lot. I want to ask our international friend. So Peter says, I do all the time. I call it spending list. All right, so that's the shopping list in there. So I want to ask our international friends, are there something similar like this in your area that you can see if different stores have specials on sale? Peter, or Tom?
Not too sure about this.
Okay.
But then most of them, you can go on their websites and check their price list and use that to make your spending list.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Very good. So there are a lot of tools that we can utilize. Even though it seems like maybe it's pennies or things like that. But then there's so much. Once you add them all together, it does add up. Now, I'm not saying that we should spend a lot of time on these, but if it takes only a couple of minutes. Like I said, I go to Vons and I just open the app there, and it's like, oh, this is I buy normally. We're low on this. We're low on this. Let me just like pasta. Pasta is something that we can keep it in the pantry for a couple of months. Of course, I wouldn't buy a lot of things that are perishable, but non-perishable items, you can buy some of them if you're going to use them. So these add up quite a bit. Now, for online shopping, who uses any tools for online shopping to find good deals? There are several great tools.
One shopping.
For online shopping. So if you're shopping something online.
I use Capital One Shopping. It
Okay.
gives you points back too.
Yep, that's one. There are a couple of other good ones too. Nobody else?
Rakuten.
Yeah, Rakuten is one of them. And then there's also Retail Me Not. Those have really good cash back. Yeah, Actually, I've noticed that between all of them, Capital One, Rakuten, and Retail Minut, I use mostly Rakuten and Retail Minut. Sometimes they have 8 to 10% cash back, and that's hard cash. So a lot of times when I want to do, let's say if I want to buy something from Home Depot, Home Depot is one of our stores that we buy material for fixing the home or things like that. Instead of buying it, going to the store and buying it, I buy it online to pick up at store, and then I get cash back because I purchase it online first, and then I go pick it up in the store. And those could add up. I think those get me more excited than actually not spending too much. I love these cashback sites. All right, let's see where we are. So we talked about that and that. All right. So does anybody have children? I know most of our couples here are young. Does anybody have children, like your elementary or high school kids?
I do.
Otam, okay. Yeah, you're right. So what have you been teaching your child, your daughter? I know we talked about her last time when we talked. Have you been teaching her how to budget and how to do stuff, how to start learning how to manage her finances?
That's been my only motive. I've been trying, I think when she was of 9 years age. Oh, what do is that I take her to shopping malls. I just give her a simple budget and I ask her to buy. But I just don't let her buy that stuff. I ask her to look for substitutes which she can get for that product and look at the price. And I always encourage her to buy the one with a cheaper price.
Okay.
Even though I'll be paying the price for that, but at least she has developed that kind of a distinction feature in her brain from where she can pick up. But now lately, as she has grown of age, I'm finding it a bit difficult to communicate with her. Maybe that's why I've been working hard on my Fintel process and all, because I think that even though house is an institution, home is an institution, but these kids, they are very much accustomed to learn at the school level. So that's why I've been trying to get into the school. But now let's see, she's been picking up a bit. She had been saving her money in her piggy banks, which I've been requesting her to give it to me so that I can invest it somewhere. But she has fallen in love with her piggy bank money that she don't want to give it to me because somehow I think she don't trust me for giving her the money back. So that's why she has been keeping that money in her own bank, and that money has been taken away by her mom, and which she is not getting back. So that's why even this morning I was having conversation with her. I tell her, okay, you give me your money, I'll invest it, and I'll give you in return something.
Okay.
But on the other hand, if you give that money to your mom, you're not even going to getting back a principal and all. So I think I've been trying to do something. I think I would love to hear experience of our other friends also.
Okay. So Jacqueline says she has 2 kids, 7 and 9, and says, I'm teaching them as I learn. So this is great. Yes. Anna says, I have a teenager, teaching her the needed or wanted process. Also a reminder for me too. So it's, Otam, what you're experiencing is very typical. And that's exactly why we prefer to start teaching this material at a much younger age. I think I mentioned we start teaching this exact same material, of course, not the cash flow, but I'll show you what we use for the kids at age 8. In schools, we start in grade 3 at age 8, because at that age, they don't have that attitude that your daughter has, or my son had the same attitude. We used to give him allowance, and then every month we will take him to the bank and put the money back in the bank, and they'll say, Dad, what you keep taking our money away and you're putting it somewhere we don't know where it is. What's the bank? Yeah, we go give it the money, but how do we know it's there? So they didn't understand it. But over and over again, and there is that period of time, the teenage years, you definitely lose them, not only in financial affairs, but they become very quiet. They just get to their own things, but they are listening. And this is why this process, it's best to start at a young age and then continue to work on it. So for children, what we have, and again, this program, we use the exact same worksheet for even a third grader. Now, of course, we don't do the cash flow, we don't do the assets and liabilities, but we do everything else, the human treasures, the patience, wealth and resources. Now, for young ones, we have a register book, and this is also in your book too. So your worksheet, this is there. This is what we use for the children. And the way this works is that, first of all, we begin to set an allowance or pocket money for them. Whatever agreement we have with our kids, whether it's the pocket money every week, once a month, whatever you work with them, we get them into the habit of recording their financial affairs. So let's say if I give them $20 as allowance today, I record the date in there, $20. Now, of course, at this age, they're not worrying about life necessities because parents are paying for it, but they do understand it. You can get them involved in this shopping list process. Our kids have always been involved in the shopping list. So they do understand that every week, we have to go to grocery store and buy something. So we ask them to allocate, let's say, $12 out of their 20 into the spend. Then we talk to them about sharing, being considerate of others. So maybe sharing $2. The investing, which is not just about money, but it's about other aspects too that we can invest too. And then obviously we want to save for that iPhone 16. And this iPhone 16 comes from the patience tab. Whatever we said in that first line, it would show up in here. So I got $4 in here for saving. And in schools, we become the banker. So we are a generous banker. We give them 5% interest, and that's how this number is calculated. They do math in here. This worksheet does a lot of checks and balances. So when we use this school, the kids are supposed to do their own math and learn how to come up with the balance. So this would be 22. And this way, they begin to develop this habit of recording their financial affairs. The cash flow is too much for them, but this is simple enough that they can definitely use. And I'm sure Anna and Irma can attest to the effectiveness of this method. Anna, since you're new, Anna, this is her first term that she's teaching in elementary schools. Anna, what's been your experience with the program and young kids?
They actually has surprised me a lot with their interest and wanting to know how to budget. A lot of my students don't have yet an allowance. So now they're motivated to ask for an allowance. And I even had a student say, I'm going to ask an allowance, but I'm going to let my mom know that I already know how to budget. So I'm like, you know what? Maybe it'll work out. It's going to work out for you. So I really was very happy with the results of the kids being so interested, and also with the feedback that I've had from parents, and with the guidance from my sister Irma. It's just been amazing, and it's really really wide opening. Like, it's an eye opener to know how much of enrichment you really can do with just teaching wealth to kids, because they're really interested in and even students that don't know that they're really good in math, they just start becoming a little bit more interested. I think this worksheet spreadsheet is like amazing, and it gives them like a very clear view of what they're doing, working with their treasure box as well. So I'm really looking forward for next year.
Okay. And let me bring this into here. Thank you so much. So this is what we use in the classroom with the kids. Either they use the spreadsheet or we have a printed copy if they don't have access to computers and internet. So we give them this treasure box, give them play money as allowance, and they learn how to record their activities. And that's been very effective. And also we've noticed that the children are becoming teachers of their own parents. We've had a really difficult time bringing parents into either schools or anything to learn. But these kids are not only learning themselves, but they're also going and teaching their parents. So that's been very effective there. All right, so let's look at your assignments for next week. Let's see what we got. Oh, and by the way, as you complete your assignments, you will notice that the color of your tab at the bottom, it changes to green. So any assignment that you complete, it goes to green. If you see yellow, that means it's not quite done. There's something missing in there. So revisit those tabs. And if it's red, that means it's overdue. You were supposed to do it the week before and you haven't done it. So that's what the color coding means on the tabs. All right. For next week, we're going to continue. If you want to build a shopping list, that's fine. That's totally up to you. We do this in class with the kids because we actually bring the flip or the papers from the different stores. And by the time we get to do the shopping, which is like the 7th or the 8th session, they have had some money in their register book. They have about $70, $80, so we can go shopping with it. But this one, definitely start, at least create a weekly, 1 week worth of time budget. And like I said, send me a message, direct message, and I'll load the hourly or half an hour sheet into your worksheet. So doing this one. Next week, we're going to the topics that we're going to be working on. We'll continue on the assets and cash flow, but then we're going to be working also on the responsibility and accountability. These two, responsibility and accountability, are foundation of our credit system because before we can borrow for anything, whether we want to buy a house, a car, borrow money to start a business, we need to show the financial institutions that we're responsible and accountable. So think about chores. What chores do you have? And this is another table that's similar to our time management or financial management. What chores? I'm supposed to wash dishes. On what days? Sunday is my day. Let's say Tuesday is my day and Friday is my day. So you just accepted those responsibility. Did you actually do them or not? You let somebody else do it. Then we're going to get into a little bit of community building. So this is part of not only worrying about our own personal financial affairs, but the well-being of the community. So you can put in some challenges that you see in your community, whatever that is. It could be rowdy neighbors. It could be graffiti. It could be lack of something in your neighborhood. And what solutions you think you can come up with. And don't think, Rob, don't think about world peace yet. That's kind of, we'll talk about that much later. But something that you can do, something that you or your friends can tackle on, something small. And this could be part of the legacy that we are leaving behind. What we leave behind is not necessarily just a house or a building or a name. We can help alleviate challenges that are in our communities. And then accountability follows that. This is about looking at our community and seeing what is existing there. So let's say for nutrition, our shopping, we shop at Vons, let's say Smart and Final. So we list the existing resources, shelter, is there enough housing available, clothing, what stores do we go to buy clothing? And what do you think our goal for the community should be? Our community goal should be just surviving or enhancing our community by utilizing different types of wealth. So those are the assignments for next week. And again, however you want to start on this cash flow. If you want to start it here, you want to use Rocket Money or anything else, we'll talk more about this next week. All right, we got a minute left. I'm going to stop talking and see if there are any questions before we end tonight's session. Nope, we're good. All I'm glad.
Thank you, Alex.
You're welcome. I'm glad everybody's still awake, did not leave the room. So thank you so much. Once the video is done processing tomorrow, I'll post it in the group chat along with the assignments. But please definitely set aside time. Don't wait until Friday or Saturday to complete your assignments. Let's try to do them early. That's part of learning in this.
Thanks for the reminder, though.
Oh, no problem. So that's what we'll do. All right, guys. Thank you very much. Have a
Thank
good
you.
one. We'll see you
Thank
next
you.
time.
night.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.